Hi Leo and Leo rising. Here is a general look at your solar chart for March 2015, and as the month kicks off, this would be a good moment to maybe let go of something or several things. So having a declutter or a spring clean, or it might be more to do with an idea or a setup or a habit or an expectation. It's a gear shifting phase. It's definitely by the time you come out of the month, you'll have more clarity, you'll have more certainty. So this is you sensing and feeling your way forwards intuitively, and having to be more sensitive to where somebody else is coming from, but on the other hand, being very careful about sticking to your values, sticking to your motivation. There could even be a feeling of coercion and power struggle, and that's more likely to be happening in the second and third weeks, so watch out for that. And that's when, for all of the signs, Mars goes across Uranus and Pluto. Mercury does actually go across Neptune just at the same time, but very, very short, just 2 or 3 days in the beginning of the third week, which can mean, again, this feeling carrying over from February over the first weeks 1 and 2, and into the third week, of more questions than answers, not having the information available, and this is in your own life, but also maybe across the wider stage, planet-wide, and with a lot of hot-headed energy around during March as well, due to Mars being in Aries. However, that's buffered quite nicely in a diplomatic kind of a way by Venus, who just would prefer negotiations, whereas Mars would just prefer to kind of, rush in all guns blazing. So up until the 17th at least, Venus is in this sort of mood and posture of restraint, but up until that third week, really, the beginning of the third week, there's still this feeling of, okay, well, what if this, what if that, and not actually having evidence to base it on, enough evidence, and things may be being presented in a way which leaves a lot left in the dark, really. So things not being quite what they seem, and certain others, it's in their interest to present them in a certain sort of a way. There might be, it could even feel like a bit of a game of poker at times, and that would be for you, but that would also be a general vibe that's going out that will influence each one of the signs in a different sort of a way. But with you, particularly in that time of maybe you're researching, maybe you're trying to find out stuff, maybe you're trying to learn stuff, maybe some of you could be connecting to higher education or to travel, so you learn through both of those ways, and connecting to other cultures, that kind of thing. But at the same time, particularly in the second and third week, feeling a bit perhaps stretched or stressed by that, feeling as though you got to deliberately just pull yourself back to, your goal, your plan, your hope, you see, because the influences will be kind of maybe buffeting you around a little bit, all right? Now, there is a solar eclipse on the 20th, and that will be significant. Solar eclipses always are. And on my other video, March 2015, in a nutshell, you'll hear a little bit more about that. And this is the time to take a step towards a new beginning regarding joint assets, property, a close relationship or a contract or agreement of some kind, and having to be more aware maybe of somebody else's value system, somebody else's requirements, somebody else's behavior, and also having to be aware of official sort of standards, bureaucracy, red tape, even the legalities of things. So consulting with those with a certain speciality, a certain expertise would be useful. Now, on that day, if you were to take a step in that direction, then that will set up a statement of intent which will unfold over the coming 6 months. Now, until from the 13th, Mercury goes into your opposite sign. And no, it doesn't go into your opposite sign. It goes into the same area as the sun. We start off the month with Mercury in your opposite sign, so a lot of sort of exchange between others, bouncing ideas off others, connecting with others, others being an agent or a go-between, you being an agent or a go-between, and a kind of an interpreter in a way. You just gathering information through mixing and mingling, and there might be quite a bit of meeting and greeting going on, or maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's just more with one person, but you're picking his brains or her brains, or they're picking yours. So it can be, it's a two-way street. It can go in either direction. And then from the 13th, so kind of just sort of getting a mirror from another about how things stand. And then from the 13th, Mercury comes into the same area as the sun that I've described to you, being in a gear shifting mood, and then keeping the cards close to the chest, and maybe playing a bit of that sort of game, strategic game for some reason or other, and also thinking more along the lines of what the bottom line is there, kind of finding out more about stuff in a sort of you're digging and delving, right? And you're being very intuitive whilst that's going on. Now, until the 17th, I've mentioned Venus. Venus supports relationships with those far away from a different background, and you could be traveling with a partner maybe, or collaborating and teaming up with somebody who has a very different slant on things, and that's useful to you, that's enables you, but also they see you as a facilitator for them. They see you as being useful for them, and earning money through, or doing well materially or better materially through somebody like that from a different culture, or who's got an expertise, or is just a mate that you're traveling with, or you are launching into, you're on a learning curve together. You feel as though you've got company on this learning curve as you're maybe joining up the dots in a puzzle or something like that, and you are slowly expanding your understanding. You're slowly getting the bigger picture on this or that or the other thing, because maybe there wasn't enough information previously. And also, you could connect with somebody that you really click with, who is in this sort of different mindset or culture, or at a distance to you, and it can be quite lucrative to connect with people who are from a different background, shall we say, to you. And then Mars is also in an area which means that you have to get active on this journey of discovery. You've got to get out of the routine box. You've got to sign up for something. You've got to ticket for somewhere. You watch different programs on the television, or when you go for a walk, go round the opposite way to the way you usually go, just to allow the energy to really start working for you and fermenting for you, and making this brew of these energies really start giving you that sort of nectar that you need, and this is a more physically active time, getting out and about a lot more. You need to get out and into a more expansive space. This is the feeling of this here, and and you need to sort of get out and grab life by the scruff of the neck, or indeed, if you're not in the mood for that, because of what's been going on for you previously, life might just come in and grab you by the scruff of the neck. So there is that just do a couple of little things differently anyway, and then that'll allow that energy to come in and really really sort of the cogs of the wheels, connecting with the cogs on your little wheels, and then interesting things can happen. And then from the 17th, Venus is helping you to create more favorable circumstances with authority figures. So those in a position of power, should we say, or people that you wish to have on your side, who have got power, who or maybe it's officials or bureaucracy, they're tending to be more friendly and helpful and supportive and sociable. They're tending in that direction. So work on that one if you need to. They tend to see you in a good light. They and you could get yourself a good ally, somebody who's got something that you need at the moment, and could be a female, it might not be, who is there. He's putting their power behind what you need to have done, or what you need to achieve your goals, and to get in the direction, to achieve your master plan, and get in the direction that you want to go. And then we have the sun moving into a much more outgoing, expansive area. It's a breezier area from the 21st, even though Mercury still is keeping, being very introspective, reflecting on things, weighing things up. The sun comes out of there and goes into this more extrovert area, and you begin to see new possibilities, and you might begin to feel quite enthusiastic about things quietly, because Mercury still is in the previous area. But you just have quietly hopeful. It's a sort of like a definite maybe, that kind of feeling. And again, travel, distant horizons, connecting with people over the net, obviously, as well. They're all highlighted here. Now, Saturn's in a positive angle to your sun sign in another fire sign up until June, and that means ultimate success if you take the long view, in paying more focused, nurturing attention to creative activities, investment type activities, regarding the affairs of children, young ones in general, leisure activities, and also romantic connections as well, and the romantic side of life. So being more hard-working and responsible, because you realize maybe that there's a scarcity there, or there are things to be done there, slowly developing things through those areas there that you've got to do, because Saturn is all about slow development and taking the long view, looking way ahead. This transit will finish in 2017, aside from a small gap this year between June and September, but it finishes in 2017, and it may also mean that you can feel held back because, and sort of frustrated because of any of those areas as well. Because you just don't have that sort of light, spontaneous freedom to sort of do whatever you want, just whenever you want it, which is kind of something that happens anyway, because other things get in the way, work and responsibilities, but there's likely to be a little bit more getting in the way with Saturn there. So you have to push harder to get these things established. This is also to do with the leisure industry as well, and the anything to do with entertainments and entertainment industry too. You Leos born the 26th to the 28th of July, or with 3 to 5 degrees rising, to feel that energy the most. Jupiter is in your sign. So in many respects, this very strong, expansive energy, up close and personal for you, will tend to soften the Saturn effect until Jupiter leaves there in August. Now, just this month, we have a stunningly beautiful aspect between Jupiter and Uranus where magical things can happen. And I'm sticking my neck out a little bit saying that, but really, the Jupiter-Uranian energy is very unpredictable, and at the same time can be almost like, you know, a bolt from the blue. It's something landing in your lap that you know, you didn't even imagine, or maybe you did imagine but just kind of discounted. There's that sort of energy with it. It depends on what sort of situation you're in, but the ones of you born in the beginning of August, so that's the 3rd to the 9th of August, or maybe with around 11 to 16 degrees rising, so the 3rd to the 9th of August, around there, although the whole sign's going to feel this, or with 11 to 16 degrees rising, those ones are right on the money, as it were, degrees. However, it will also be affecting other rising sign degrees and other dates of birth as well in the sign of Leo. And this is an energy where if you're thinking about taking a risk or a gamble, it may pay off. But having said that to you, we should never, you know, put all our eggs in one basket. We should never put everything just on one turn of the wheel, as it were. So being kind of smart and savvy is always, you know, it goes without saying. However, the Jupiter-Uranian energy might mean something from left field comes in, and you can miss it. I mean, we can all, you know, miss these weather systems, and this is like a warm airstream coming through. So it's like I'm so stressed out over this thing, I completely missed that. And it is a little bit like Concorde, you know, it's like a supersonic, if you know what Concorde is. I mean, it's the most beautiful jet plane that was ever built, I think. But you know, let's forget Concorde. It's like meteoric, and it's over the month of. It will come in again in 2015. Well, let's just go for the month of March at the moment. It could, yeah, it will come in again, and you know, you have to sort of grab the golden ring on the merry-go-round, as it were. And in order to do that, you mustn't be blinkered, and you must be flexible, and you must keep your mind open. And more than that, I cannot say. So Jupiter, of course, is taking you off in several new directions, and you've got to keep filtering out which is the direction that you really want to travel in life, I mean, because Jupiter only comes round into a sign once every 12 years. So, you know, if you're sort of 12 years old, this is the first time you're going to have noticed it. You might want to look back 12 years, around about 12 years, and see what was happening then, and whether you kind of leapt onto a sort of a new stage and started to kind of do new things from that time onwards. But you're going to be learning through doing, and you're going to be, you know, separating the wheat from the chaff, and you're going to be getting enthusiastic about things, but do not overlook important details, because that is the one disadvantage, I think, with Jupiter. It tends to only see the big overview, and it doesn't notice the little knotty details, the sort of fine print. So just be aware of that. And that's it for March. This is written up on my website. Well, probably more than I've said is written up on my website. And also, if you know your rising sign, your moon sign, listen to those, and that could bring in a little bit more, sort of fill out the picture a bit. And I'll see you the next time.